The postseason continues at Bankers Life Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. Game 2 of the Big Ten men's basketball tournament. Ohio State Buckeyes taking on the number 12 seed Purdue Boilermakers. Game 1 of our day saw Illinois advance by 10, 64-54, eliminating Indiana. They'll play Michigan. Ohio State and Purdue, the winner plays Nebraska. Tonight, Minnesota, Penn State, and Iowa Northwestern. Hi again, everybody. Alongside Stephen Bardo, I'm Kevin Kugler. Great to have you with us for game number 2. Purdue taking on an Ohio State team that lives and dies with defense.
Ohio State does an excellent job of creating turnovers that at least open buckets like we saw in these 2 matchups this year in the Big Ten Conference.
Well, one of the things you can say about Ohio State, when they come to the Big Ten tournament, they stay for a while.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with the presence of Aaron Craft for the last 4 years and Thad Matta's system in terms of them being prepared for this 3-game sprint.
It's hard not to think of defense when you think of Aaron Craft.
Yeah, Aaron Craft is like a shutdown corner where you try not to run offense in his presence. He's so good, so strong. His anticipation skills are tremendous, and he has a knack for the big play, just like that, diving on the floor. You'll see plays like that from Aaron Craft.
A.J. Hammond's a guy Purdue's hoping comes to play today.
I mean, this is a guy who's a double-double waiting to happen when he's locked in early. But sometimes he gets in foul trouble, and that limits his production and his attitude towards the game. But when he's locked in, Kevin, very difficult to stop. He could have his way against the Ohio State front line.
Purdue trying to pull off the upset. The 12 seed has not won in the Big Ten tournament. Can they do it today? We'll find out next. Time to get game 2 of the Big Ten men's basketball tournament started from Bankers Life Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. Kevin Kugler alongside Stephen Bardo as we show you our Buffalo Wild Wings starting lineup for Purdue. Ronnie Johnson and Tyrone Johnson in the backcourt. Got to have big games to go along with A.J. Hammonds in the middle. Stevens and Davis rounding out that Purdue lineup. For Ohio State, the starting lineup, the backcourt of Kraft along with Lenzel Smith Jr., LaQuinton Ross, Sam Thompson, and Amir Williams, the starting lineup for Ohio State. Principal Financial Group edge to the game.
Oh, you talk about both of these teams here. For Purdue, clean slate, nothing to lose. You got a brand new season. Ohio State, they want to attack the front line of Purdue early and often.
Let's check in with the third member of our crew, Stephanie White. Steph.
Hey, guys. Well, you mentioned it. Ohio State gets it done on the defensive end. They lead the league in scoring D, and the backcourt of Aaron Craft and Shannon Scott, one of the reasons why they set the tone on the defensive end. 2 all-defensive team performers, first and second in the league in steals. Thad Matta said 3 things to separate these guys. 1, their quickness, disruptive on and off the ball. 2, their intellect on the defensive end. And 3, their desire to be great defenders, guys.
We'll see if those 2 guys can keep up that defensive pace today against this Purdue squad. 2 teams coming in feeling very different about where they are at this point in the season. Purdue having lost 6 straight games to end the year in a turnover. Kraft trying to hit Williams down low, and he threw it away. Meanwhile, Ohio State, a little shot of adrenaline with that big win over Michigan State to close the season.
Yeah, it was a big win for them because Michigan State is trying to surge and get ready for the tournament, but Ohio State has aspirations after this tournament of their own.
Kendall Stevens inside, and a little hook shot is up and good for Tyrone Johnson.
Oh, nice job of getting Tyrone Johnson on the block to start the game. He's a guy who has an assortment of runners and jump hooks, and Purdue going inside and not to Hammonds.
Kraft to Ross. Ross against Davis and backs it out to Smith. Now 10 to shoot for Aaron Kraft. Lenzel Smith with 5 on the shot clock. It's no good, but a foul. Thad Matta, head coach of the Buckeyes, 10th season as Ohio State head coach. And we showed you at the top of the broadcast his success in the Big Ten tournament of late, always getting to the title game the last 5 Big Ten tourneys.
Yeah, that's uncanny success in such an ultra-competitive situation.
There's Matt Painter, only Big Ten head coach of his alma mater, 9th season as the head man at Purdue, but some strong words at the end of the season from Matt Painter about his squad.
Yeah, taking ownership, Matt Painter did, of guys not leading, not buying into what he's trying to do, and he took the blame for all of it. And so trying to free up his team and say, hey, we've got new life here.
Good start from the Johnson brothers. First Tyrone, and now Ronnie Johnson gives Purdue the early 4-1 edge.
Purdue concentrating on getting the ball in the paint. That high pick and roll, line Johnson go downhill.
Ross posting up inside, had good position down low against Ronnie Johnson, and then a foul is going to be called against Ohio State, battling for the rebound. Amir Williams with his first.
Quentin Ross, really close range. Surprised a lot when you see him miss shots in that, in that 5 to 8 foot range.
Ronnie Johnson. Tyrone Johnson. Rayfeld Davis against Ross. Johnson open for three. And the rebound to Amir Williams. Tyrone Johnson shooting better from three this year than he has at any point in his career. 36% this year, career 32% shooter. As Hammonds grabs the rebound off the Smith miss.
Ohio State looking a little unsure of themselves on the offensive end. See if they can get Sam Thompson involved at all.
Hammonds, first touch he's had in the post, gets rid of it to Stevens. Stevens hit on the three by Thompson. And Kendall Stevens going to go to the free throw line for three.
Well, Sam Thompson had the right thought in terms of closing in on the shooter, but Kendall Stevens will get rewarded there.
Stevens 84% at the charity stripe, but he hits the first. He was slowed late in the season with a groin injury, kind of nagging a little bit. Threw off his shot over the last couple of games. Kendall Stevens, though, has the potential to be a pretty explosive scorer. Had 19 against Michigan State earlier this year, 14 against Minnesota.
He stretches the floor, and you've got to pay attention to him because he can shoot it from the parking lot. Unlimited range on that jumper.
It's all three, a 7-1 advantage for Purdue. Good start for the Boilermakers as Basil Smotherman comes in for Rayfeld Davis.
Similar start to the first game with Illinois and Indiana. Illinois getting out to a 9-0 lead early, so see if Ohio State can settle down and get a quality look.
Denzel Smith. Here's Kraft. Thompson now around the screen. Back to Kraft. Kraft driving all the way to the rim, and Aaron Kraft, who scored more down the last month of the season than he did early in the year, really able to create off the dribble.
Yeah, he did a good job because he fought with some contact in the paint area.
Smotherman over the outstretched arms of Amir Williams. Hammond's trying to keep it alive. Sam Thompson will leave it up to get it. Now Thompson in transition. Great feed and finish. Lenzel Smith Jr. with a two.
That's one of the things Ohio State can do is fast break. It allows them to get their athletes out on the wings when you have Lenzel Smith and Sam Thompson filling. Good job, two-man basketball that time.
Hammonds trying to find some room inside, and a whistle. And a turnover is going to be called. The foul going against Ronnie Johnson.
Watch Sam Thompson go up here and challenge the 7-footer A.J. Hammonds. You might be tall, but I wanted more. Sam Thompson ripping it down, starting the break, and then finding Lenzel Smith behind the defense. Good job. The backcourt of Ohio State.
I don't know if anybody's ever mentioned before, Sam Thompson's a pretty good leaper. Got a little vertical.
Got a little vertical, and he had some I wanted more on that scenario. That was more effort than hops.
Thompson looking around. Trey McDonald off the Ohio State bench. Ross now against Kendall Stevens. Bryson Scott on the floor now for Purdue, the 6'1" guard. On the drive, the little runner by Ross is good. He's on the board. And a tie game at 7, 6-0 run for Ohio State.
And that is a difficult shot that LaQuentin Ross made look easy. Running away from the bucket, puts it on the glass at a very difficult angle. Showing you why he's such a good scorer.
Davis with 15 to shoot to Stevens. Stevens knifing all the way to the rim. Blocked out of there by Thompson, who flew in out of nowhere.
Purdue thinks that basketball hit the backboard before Thompson got to it. We have to take a look.
Ross on the drive. The runner by Ross, no good. The rebound, Smotherman. Now Scott tried to push. He's got great speed all the way to the other end. Coast to coast. Bryson Scott exploding for two.
Bryson Scott. Ooh, he went to the 5th gear that time. Got through the defense. Got to the rim.
Freshman, just 3 points per game over his last 9. But Bryson Scott showing that great speed. 20 on the shot clock for Smith. Kraft shovels behind Thompson, the 3. A little bit strong, long rebound. Kraft plucks it away. McDonald put it on the floor. He let Hammonds regather and get the block.
And Hammonds never left the floor to get that block.
Oh, Smith pick in the pocket of Bryson Scott. Ross in transition to Thompson. Thompson all the way up. Blocked by Hammonds. McDonald inside. Got the hook and got the 2.
Matt Painter better be careful. He is livid with the officiating right now.
He's getting a little bit of a warning. Gene Steratore stopping things to say, let's calm down a bit.
Matt Painter thinking that McDonald traveled twice on that layup. And I like what Gene Steratore did, though. Instead of giving him a tech, give him a warning. Tell him to back off a little bit.
Rayfield Davis drive it inside. Smith with the strip again. Ross to Thompson to Kraft for 2, and Ohio State has an 11-9 lead.
Purdue's half-court defense hasn't been poor, Kevin, but they've given up so many fast break points here to get Ohio State this lead.
Smotherman to Hammonds against McDonald. Double team showing from Ross. 15 to shoot.
A.J. Hammonds just plays 2 straight up and down.
Kraft just took it away from the freshman. Kraft around the McDonald screen. Ross. Good fake. Ross on the drive. McDonald with the rebound. Can't get the putback, and Scott pulls away the loose ball.
But Ohio State is relentlessly attacking the rim. They didn't get that one to fall, but they're getting great looks.
Hammonds the deep 2, and the rebound, a foul coming over the back. Basil Smotherman with his first personal foul. Ohio State trying to crank up the game a little bit. The fast break working so far as Kraft's layup gives the Buckeyes the 2-point lead. Matt Painter a little frustrated earlier, thought a travel should have been called on Trey McDonald and let everybody know it with his team down 2, 11-9. And there was some frustration earlier in the week from Matt Painter, not about a travel, but just about in general the way his team has finished the season.
Well, you can see his comments right there, but he's taking full blame for the situation, and I think he's trying to take the pressure off his team, his players, to allow them to come into this tournament setting kind of free of mind, new season. Come let it all hang out.
Well, that's what you have to do, don't you? If you're Purdue, you're 15-16. You were 5-13 in conference play. You've got to just try to wipe the slate clean and say, let's go to Indy and see what happens.
Yeah, but the chemistry issues and the lack of leadership that Coach Painter are referring to, they just don't go away once the regular season ends.
Just 11 of 13 after the 13-5 start to the season. Handoff to Shannon Scott. Mark Loving also off the Ohio State bench. Scott back to Loving again. 13 on the shot clock. Smith with 8 to shoot. Smith inside, runs right into Hammonds. The shot is blocked away by Eric Peck. Johnson gives to Davis. Davis on the drive. Shot no good. Rebound knocked out of bounds, and it's going to stay with Purdue. Stephanie White was eavesdropping a bit on the Matt Painter huddle. What'd you hear?
Guys, Coach was talking about the hustle plays, getting on the floor after the loose balls, and we all know that when you have to coach effort at this point in the year, that's a problem. These guys really trying to pick each other up, but Coach Painter's certainly getting on them.
Now Hammonds inside for 2. That's a great point that Steph makes. Trying to coach effort 32 games into the season, that's not something you hear a lot about.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why they found themselves at the back end of the Big Ten Conference, because this is a ultra competitive league, and especially this season where everyone felt like they had an honest opportunity each and every time they stepped on the floor.
Scott down the baseline into traffic and a turnover. Peck leaving for Johnson. Davis inside to Hammonds, who got rid of it quickly to Peck. The three off, and McDonald the rebound.
I would have liked to seen Peck throw it back into A.J. Hammonds. He had good position. They could have reposted, giving him another opportunity.
Kraft around the screen. The three no good, and Johnson the rebound. Johnson to Ronnie Johnson on the drive. Dishes to Hammonds for the two-handed stuff. That's a terrific drive and dish from Johnson to Hammonds.
Yeah, Ronnie Johnson doing a good job of getting past the defense. You don't see Ohio State allow a lot of rim attacks like that, so Ronnie Johnson doing a good job getting past the initial line of defense.
Oh, how about great dribble penetration from Kraft, as Aaron Kraft is going to work his way to the free throw line. We're tied up 13 apiece. Purdue doing some work inside. The dish to Hammonds for the two. Aaron Kraft making a little Big Ten history this year. Two-time Defensive Player of the Year, the Big Ten career steals leader, and 4 times on the all-defensive team. Purdue says, oh yeah, well, we got that too. Chris Kramer ended his career just a couple of years ago, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. And Chris Kramer joins Aaron Kraft as both 4-time all-defensive team selections.
A lot of times you don't see defenders get a lot of credit for what they do for their ball club. But in both situations, you saw steals turn into easy buckets for their team. And look at these two players, and their career steals numbers are really impressive, especially Aaron Kraft, all-time steals leader in Big Ten history. Are you kidding me?
6 points with Kraft missing that free throw. Finished strong from an offensive standpoint. 4 out of the last 6 games he got into double figures. For a guy that's not necessarily thought of as a big-time scorer, he was a little bit more down the stretch.
Yeah, he showed everybody in the country, but last year, Elite 8, to get to the Elite 8 game, hitting the game winner. So he's a capable offensive player. He just likes to defer and get his teammates going first.
He'll get a breather right now as Sam Thompson comes in. Tie ball game. 11 minutes remaining in this first half here in Indy. Shannon Scott going to work against Ronnie Johnson. Thompson, great pass inside. Amir Williams can't hit it, and Hammonds comes back for the foul. Williams will go to the line.
Oh, Amir Williams, point-blank range, doing his Moses Malone imitation. Watch the cross screen by Mark Loving right there on A.J. Hammonds. Rayfield Davis nowhere to be found on the help defense. Purdue fortunate that wasn't a three-point play.
Well, Amir Williams, the Big Ten leader in field goal percentage, hasn't missed many like that. In fact, hasn't missed many all year, 61% from the floor.
Yeah, it looked like Hammonds got away with a little bit of love tap right there on the release on the first attempt. Amir Williams sticking with it.
1 for 2 for Williams at the line. 1-point lead for the Buckeyes. And another ear takeaway by Lenzel Smith. Can Purdue take advantage of the scramble? They cannot. Ohio State regathering quickly. Now Johnson on the drive. Had it ripped out of his hands. Smith on the push. Scott with Thompson. Back it goes inside and out of bounds. Ohio State had a 3-on-1, and they couldn't close it out. The march to the Final Four is on, and BTN covers it all. Game previews, interviews, and complete post-game analysis of each matchup of the NCAA tournament. Big Ten basketball and beyond. Tournament edition every night, all postseason long, starting next Thursday, only on BTN. I was going to ask what Stephen Bardo was doing starting next week. Now I know.
Oh, for sure, man. I'm in the studio or I'm in front of a television because I'm watching as much basketball as I possibly can.
Travis Carroll on the floor. He closed out the regular season strong with 7 points in the finale against Northwestern. And Carroll with the long 2. Can't get the roll. Rebound poked over from Ross to Scott.
I like Travis Carroll being much more aggressive on the offensive end. Guy that has dedicated himself to the program, is a great teammate.
Oh, and a two-handed stuff by Amir Williams. Not going to miss that one from point-blank range.
Yeah, another defensive breakdown by Purdue on the weak side. Nobody helping there. on the slip. Purdue trying to force Ohio State away from the pick and roll, but didn't adjust on the weak side.
Johnson around the Carroll screen. Kendall Stevens. Eric Peck, tough pull-up. He got it somehow to fight through the defense and roll in.
Line drive there with Eric Peck, and you expect him to play well here. Indianapolis native, fifth-year senior transfer from Cornell. He's got some family in attendance.
Scott with a trap, and the turnover, back it goes. Fourth Ohio State turnover as Peck will inbound.
Boy, Shannon Scott having a tough time finding the handle here since he's coming to the ball game. Ohio State, one of those teams similar to Michigan and Wisconsin, they typically don't turn the ball over a whole lot. Having trouble here in the last couple minutes.
Ronnie Johnson getting into the paint, can't get the roll, but he's going to go to the line. Nice first step by Johnson to explode down the lane. Scott with the personal. And Scott is first.
Ooh, a little shimmy shake, and that's against Shannon Scott now. Shannon Scott, one of the better defenders in the Big Ten.
Two-time all-defensive team member the last 2 years, and Johnson, a little shoulder edge to the left, went right by him. Cannot hit on the free throw. Ronnie Johnson went 0 for 6 against Northwestern on Sunday. Second time in 3 games he's gone over, but in his career, after scoring single digits, that very next game he averages almost 15 points a game.
I tell you, he's got some bounce back ability and some amnesia, which you need to be a good basketball player. You're not always going to tear it up when you come out on the floor, but you can come back and have that kind of effort. It shows a lot about his character.
The problem is with that amnesia, then you start working in TV, and then we show all these old highlights of Stephen Pardo, and then that amnesia, we just remind you. Remember this play? Remember that play? You can't have it too long.
No, that's true. Definitely right about that. We won't be seeing any Pardo replays here in this game, thank goodness.
Go online, the Bardo highlight package, 5 hours long, is right up there on BTN.com. Foul inside, and an opportunity to inbound once more for Ohio State. Travis Carroll with his first.
Ohio State doing a good job of bringing Amir Williams from the weak side to the strong side via baseline screen. Purdue hasn't responded very well to that.
Kraft into the backcourt to Ross. 1-point ball game, 8:25 to go in the first. Pace of this game surprised you at all?
A little bit, and it favors Purdue in my opinion, because Ohio State's mainly been able to score the basketball on fast breaks. Haven't done a lot in the half court.
Thompson had it knocked out from behind by Stevens. Kendall Stevens, good play to take it cleanly from Thompson and knock it out of bounds.
Travis Carroll came over, help side, shutting off the baseline beautifully. Good team defense by Purdue.
Kraft will inbound. We thought about the lob to Thompson. And went to Ross instead, and a travel against LaQuinton Ross, the turnover number 5 for the Buckeyes.
Quentin Ross getting going a little too quickly. Those scores, he had one-on-one on the side there.
Turnovers, and then all the way to the rim. Ronnie Johnson exploding for 2, and Purdue back in front.
Ohio State coaching staff going to be livid about that play. No passes whatsoever. Ronnie Johnson comes up the floor unabated to the rim.
Amadeo Del Valle off the bench for Ohio State. And a foul is called. Johnson trying to defend Kraft on the edge. Ronnie Johnson picks up his second personal foul. Big second foul with 7:43 to play in the first. The two coaches looking on. A tight ball game here in Indy. Our year-end awards in the Big Ten Conference. Aaron Kraft on display today as the Defensive Player of the Year. Nick Stauskas will play tomorrow against Illinois. They beat Noah Vonleh's Indiana squad earlier. Nigel Hayes, a blossoming young star for the Wisconsin Badgers.
Yeah, those are great awards in terms of being the top in those respective categories in the Big Ten. And tell you what, it's going to be fun to watch Nick Stauskas tomorrow, because he is playing as well as anyone in the country right now.
Michigan pounded Illinois just a couple of weeks ago. Illinois looking for a little revenge after beating Indiana by 10 in our first game of the day here on BTN. Kraft with the front end of the 1-and-1 to tie it. He's got 7 points already, does Aaron Kraft.
Well, Aaron recognizing that his team starting slowly on the offensive end, so he's going to pick it up. It's a guy that just cares about winning, Kevin. He doesn't care about individual numbers. He just wants to get the W.
The winner of this game plays Nebraska. Surprise 4 seed in the Big Ten. Swatted away by Thompson. Thompson's got it going to the other end. Against Peck, Thompson can't get the roll, but he'll go to the line as Peck commits the personal foul, his first.
It seems as though Purdue doesn't understand how good defensively Ohio State is. Some of the passes on the perimeter here in the first half have kind of surprised me, Kevin, because, you know, Ohio State's an opportunistic defense. They play passing lanes as well as any team in the Big Ten.
Well, Purdue in the half court defensively has done a good job, but where they've gotten burned are in those continual transition opportunities.
That's right, and this was the case in the first 2 meetings between Purdue and Ohio State this season. A ton of points off turnovers for Ohio State in both of those games. So the problem right now for Purdue, Lonnie Johnson on the bench with 2 fouls, so their primary ball handler foul trouble. Now you have to rely on Bryson Scott against these piranhas in the Ohio State jerseys.
It's a daunting task indeed. Stevens around the screen, can't hit the 3. The Williams rebound starts it the other way for Ohio State.
See, I also sometimes get confused because A.J. Hammons hasn't touched the basketball in quite a while.
After the second opportunity, can the Buckeyes take advantage? Leading by 2. Kraft the lob to Williams. Williams with a left-handed hook, the air ball, and the rebound by Bryson Scott in front of Kraft. Good position by Scott to clear out that rebound. Now he's got to go to work against Kraft. Kraft putting his hands in the air. Purdue fans in the arena grumbling that he committed a foul. Tyrone Johnson with the crossover and the floater, and with his brother Ronnie on the bench, Tyrone Johnson's going to have to do things like that.
I agree. He's going to have to be very aggressive because right now Purdue would be good to take Bryson Scott off the basketball because Kraft is hounding him, harassing him out of his offensive set.
6th tie of this first half between these 2 teams. Kraft. Ross now on the drive. Tip try, no good. Rebound inside. Williams has it taken away. Bryson Scott didn't have numbers, and the freshman wisely held things up. Tyrone Johnson was begging for the ball as he saw Hammons down low, wanted to lob it to him, and the foul inside.
Well, Hammons got excellent position. Watch him ride Amir Williams up the lane. That's good technique, allowing your perimeter the room to throw that lob pass. Good job by Purdue that possession.
Inbound after the foul to Stevens.
Oh, you got to give it to him.
Johnson. Working hard underneath McDonald, and Hammons are just battling down low. And the foul is whistled against Trey McDonald, who had his arms wrapped around A.J. Hammons.
Doing a little slow dance in our McDonald and Hammons in the paint. Switching positions there, and McDonald's arms getting tangled up.
Some foul trouble inside now for Ohio State. 2 on Williams, and that's the first on McDonald. And then out of bounds, it'll stay with Purdue.
Valley doing a good job with the active hands defensively.
Johnson against Della Valle. Crossover trying to get free. Good defense by Della Valle, and the shot rebounded by Ross.
Della Valle can be rewarded for his effort on this end. He's a really good perimeter shooter.
Has struggled a bit of late. 0 for 8 his last 4 games. 0 for 7 from 3. Kraft, he'll try the 3. Barely draws iron. McDonald there for the rebound, and the foul on Hammons as he went back up, and that'll be 2 on A.J. Hammons.
I didn't think there was a whole lot of contact there. I thought the big fella Hammons got it up, got it right at the top. Well, McDonald rewarded for getting good position on that Kraft miss because he barely touched iron. I think that caught Hammonds and Purdue a little bit by surprise.
Free throw is good. I believe that foul was called on Stevens, not Hammonds. So only one still on Hammonds and now one on Stevens. A break for Purdue.
Big time break, and you can leave Hammonds in the game. Because typically, when he picks up his second foul, Painter does not hesitate, gets him right out.
21-19 Buckeyes by 2.
Even though Buckeyes have the lead, I still think this pacing favors Purdue a little bit.
Scott trying to penetrate. The dish for 3. And the rebound, Lenzel Smith. Smith, nice crossover. In the corner to Thompson. 3 no good. Rebound tipped around by McDonald and a foul inside. It'll go against Purdue. Rayfelt Davis in the area. And Davis with his second personal foul.
Ohio State really hitting the offensive glass. No one box out McDonald. He has a straight line to the rim.
McDonald missing the first.
There's McDonald. Watch how easily he goes right to the rim. No box out. Continuing to put pressure on Purdue. They don't run any plays for that young man, but he's been pretty efficient here in the first half.
Buckeyes struggling, though, in their opportunities at the line. 7 of 13 in this first half. From the free throw line, they're also struggling from 3. 0 for 6 from 3, continuing some late season struggles behind the arc. Hammonds, double team, comes in the shot, blocked by Ross.
Really good timing by LaQuinton Ross. Coming on the blind side of Hammonds, never saw him there.
Ohio State just 8 for their last 48 from 3 as Smith launches and ends that drought with a 3 in the corner.
Oh, watch Tyrone Johnson. He came up a little gimpy in that exchange, trying to shake his right hand. Got his hand caught or jammed a little bit.
Scott was trying to get it to Hammonds. Instead, the jumper over Kraft won't go. Ross the rebound, and Ohio State threatening to stretch this lead a bit here. Purdue's gone cold from the floor.
Well, Bryson Scott, that's kind of wondering why he took that shot attempt.
Thompson, the floater is good. 26-19, Ohio State by 7, and a timeout, Purdue.
Sam Thompson with a nice floater along the baseline.
And a little bit of help on the outside. Lenzel Smith getting the first 3 to go down for the Buckeyes. They've stretched the lead to 7.
Ohio State 26, Purdue 19, 3:38 remaining in the first half. Kevin Kugler, Stephen Barno, Stephanie White back with you from Bankers Life Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. And Purdue's gone nearly 4 minutes without a field goal. Ronnie Johnson back out there on the floor for the Boilermakers.
Coach Painter understanding he's got to roll the dice here. They've got to get some offensive continuity.
And there's Johnson going right at the rim with the left hand. That's why he's back out on the floor to provide plays like that.
Well, and you referenced it earlier, how he bounces back after scoreless games, and he's doing that here in the first half.
6 points for Johnson in this first half. 5-point lead for the Buckeyes. Ross looking baseline, driving it right at Hammonds. Can't get it, but Ross there for the putback after the offensive rebound. How did Ross get that rebound with 3 Boilermakers there?
Yeah, he just wanted it more. You know, that's a natural scorer. He's got a natural nose for the rock. Went after it with a reckless abandon.
7-point advantage. Hammonds on the perimeter. Here's Ronnie Johnson. 15 to shoot for Tyrone Johnson against Kraft. Now Hammonds working against McDonald, trying to back him down. The turnaround for Hammonds too strong, and Ross with the board.
Not a bad possession that time for Purdue. Hammonds got a pretty good look.
And a turnover by Kraft. Ohio State leading by 7, 28-21. LaQuinton Ross, the team leader 23 times in scoring this year, working hard on the glass to get 2 more in a 7-point game. Look, Quentin Ross trying to take over a little bit for Ohio State.
Yes, he remains aggressive, knowing that he's got to be the main scoring option. And if he can do that, then it will open up opportunities for his teammates. And that one, he just wanted more than everybody else on the floor.
Well, our All-State Insurance Mayhem Index against Purdue this year, Quentin Ross has created plenty of mayhem.
Yeah, and he's a tough matchup for Purdue. They don't really have a wing that can keep up with Quentin. If they put a smaller guy on him, he goes to the block. If they bring someone like A.J. Hammonds on him, he goes to the perimeter. So Purdue really has no answer for him right now.
The lob for Purdue in to Ronnie Johnson, playing with 2 fouls. Matched up with Ross here on this trip up the floor. Johnson, the handoff to Stevens in traffic. Stevens throws up the air ball. Smotherman there to save it for Purdue. Now on the drive, Johnson. The dish to Hammonds, and Hammonds able to muscle it up and in.
Well, Purdue hanging around. Getting another point-blank range shot by Hammonds there. A nice penetration.
Our State Farm halftime report coming up. Dave, Jim, and Sean with a look back to game 1 and a look ahead to the rest of the day. Plus, of course, an analysis of this game coming up at the half. And going back the other way after the foul on Sam Thompson. Goes back to the other end. That is the 16th foul on Ohio State. 10 have been whistled on Purdue.
Looked like Sam Thompson was trying to set a cross screen here on A.J. Hammonds, and he felt like it was a moving screen there. Mike Sanzier was on that call.
Mike Johnson giving it back to Hammonds. Stevens again. The long 2 is good. Kendall Stevens is not afraid to shoot, and he wasn't afraid there in traffic to hit that long 2.
When your shot is as pretty and as effective as Kendall Stevens, you got to let it fly. Well, Purdue with some active hands in this defensive possession right now. Something Matt Painter says has been lacking.
Scott backing it out with 12 to shoot. Take it away. Basil Smotherman with the steal and the one-handed flush. Purdue back within 1.
Smotherman, an excellent athlete, playing the passing lanes very well that time.
6-0 run for the Boilermakers, trying to close this half on a high note. 18 to shoot for Ross. Kraft. 9 to shoot for Smith. Scott the long 3. McDonald battling for the rebound. Kraft trying to save it, and he does. 10 seconds until halftime, and Ohio State will calm it down. And a timeout taken by Thad Matta with 8.1 seconds to go in the first half, and he had to work a little bit to get the attention of the crew.
Basil Smotherman right there. Great anticipation with his left hand. Goes in with a strong flush. I thought we were going to see a highlight reel dunk, because Smotherman, one of the best dunkers in the Big Ten, gives his team a big boost with that play.
State Farm halftime report just seconds away here in Indy, with Ohio State hanging on to that 1-point lead. A back and forth first half. Neither team been able to really get into a rhythm offensively, and I guess you have to credit the defensive effort for both of these teams.
Yeah, neither team really shooting the ball well. Purdue is just a little bit over 40%. Ohio State 10 of 29 for 34%, but they still have the lead.
Winner plays Nebraska tomorrow afternoon here in Indy. 8.1 seconds remaining in this first half. Ohio State, with that second effort underneath, able to keep it alive and get this last possession.
High screen and roll for Shannon Scott. Oh, nice set play on the sideline out of bounds.
Ross with the 2, and he flushes it home. And then Kraft with the steal. Kraft lobbing it, and it's taken away by Peck. Halftime is here.
Nice little flurry to finish for Ohio State as they take a 3-point lead into the locker room.
I was surprised by that set play. They took Shannon Scott away from the basketball to take away an extra defender. Good job by Ohio State.
Stephanie White standing by with Ohio State head coach Thad Matta.
Coach, neither team really able to get into a rhythm. Purdue goes on that 6-0 run. You're able to capitalize out of that timeout. How important was that?
Well, it was big. I mean, we're not playing very well right now. We're giving them so many layups. I mean, I think of their first 17 points, they had 7 layups and 3 free throws. And I don't know if Sam fouled them or not, but we got to get ourselves together. We got to convert in transition. We're just not as sharp as we need to be.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach.